Hello everybody, welcome to Tamiyo's Journal. My name is Tom and I'll be your chronicler, and we're here today to play some Magic. So what goes on in the journal is I take games from paper, bring them over to Arena, show you guys some of the fun decks I've been playing and kind of the tips and tricks on how I play them. So not all games will be winners, but at least we can have some fun and kind of see how they went. I don't just play meta decks, so I like to kind of build some fun and janky brews, so if you are kind of interested in those sort of decks, please stick around and see how it goes. So if you do like what you see, you can check out the full article of how the paper games went over on our website, which is tamiyosjournal.com. And if it's not too much trouble to ask as well, if you wouldn't mind doing the old usual YouTube stuff, like, subscribe, leave a comment, and if you do have any questions, I'll be able to answer them as soon as I possibly can as well. So the most important part of Magic for me is the community, and I would absolutely love for you guys to get involved as well. If you have any kind of deck tips or decks that you'd like to share, if you just pop me a message over on social media, I'll be able to take a look, try and give you some help and kind of tips and tricks on how I would get around building things, and yeah, we can all just kind of share this together as well, which would be great. So without further ado, let's dive in and check out our deck today. So this is Abzan Knights, and the Knight kind of tribal strategy is something that I've always wanted to build around. I saw History of Benalia in one of my first games of Magic and I thought this card is gorgeous. I can't wait to try and trade up for this and hopefully be able to play such a powerful standard card. So the base of the deck is you take a load of small knights, build them up, pump them up with History of Benalia or Tristani Discordant, and then hopefully swing them for the win. If that doesn't work though, we do have a backup plan. It's not the end of the world if all our knights get cleared off the board. We've got the Angel package in there as well with Shalai, Seraph of the Scales, and Lyra as well, which can be a powerhouse in the mid game as well. So I started this deck back in Guilds of Ravnica, and the mana base was far too clunky. I had too much kind of black removal in the deck to start off with, and I was kind of just getting crushed all the time due to kind of terrible inconsistent draws, or having dead spells like Cast Down when everyone else was playing legendary creatures. So to round off the deck, in the sideboard we have Duress against Control, an extra Lyra against Aggro, a Janny, which is a fantastic card against Control, and so is Ixalan's Binding as well if you're kind of having trouble with Teferi or Niv Mizzet. Vraska's Contempt's in there to deal with Planeswalkers, especially Teferi, and then we've got Invoke the Divine against enchantments, which are rampant in this meta at the moment, and Ethereal Absolution is a card that I kind of was thinking is a bit of a sleeper at the moment. It pumps your own creatures, it puts -1 counters on your opponent's creatures, and you can start exiling stuff as well with your mana that's left over. So to start us off, we've got Knight of Grace and Knight of Malice. So these creatures both have first strike, they have a specific hexproof from a color, and they also pump each other as well at the same time. They're fantastic against aggro creatures, and as well you can kind of get a lot of damage through whilst they synergize as well with History of Benalia. Knight of Alm is a bit of a kind of catch-all as well, a jack of all trades. You can put the counters on it if you need a bigger creature to block with, you can blow up artifacts and enchantments, which is fantastic in this meta, and the life gain is incredibly handy against aggro. This card is just fantastic, and for 3 mana you can get a ton of value from it as well. And they're all knights as well, so if you can have a good sequence at the start with a turn 1 play with Dauntless, one of these creatures, turn 3 this, History of Benalia starts going off, unless your opponent has the perfect sweeper, for example like Ritualist Suit or Cry of the Carnarium, you're pretty much guaranteed to get a ton of damage through, which is, usually enough to win as well. So Kaya was a card that I was a bit skeptical about at first, but after playing around with it I had so much fun with it, and as well I think it is really good in the current meta. So the +1 ability is really good against graveyards, but it's also very good against mono red and mono blue. You're switching off Drakes, you're switching off Golgari, you're switching off Sultai, getting their Krasis back, and the life gain's really handy against burn, and mono blue as well. Well, I mean, it's just fantastic for, battling mono blue. The -1 ability turns off Curious Obsession, turns off Terramander, turns off Mistcloak Herald, turns off Siren Storm Tamer. This card is almost like a sniper rifle against mono blue, and if you can get this down cleanly, you're in such a better place against that deck. So Kaya's ultimate is pretty easy to reach, and you're going to deal a load of damage if you've exiled enough cards as well. You're also getting a lot of life, which is handy against aggro, but if you can get a victory over your opponent this way, it is just such a great way to win a game. A quick shout out as well to Tristani. Again, this is a card that the abilities are kind of, it's a pump ability, and you also get a couple of tokens, which is really handy, but the main kind of reason we've got this in the deck is against Esper, and it's the bottom text there. At the beginning of your end step, each player gains control of all creatures they own, so if you get hit by a Thief of Sanity and you get this down in response, you're going to get the creature that they've played from Thief of Sanity, or even Hostage Taker as well. They're going to come back across the board and start fighting for you again. And finally, the main part of this deck, History Benalia, the key card. If this comes down in turn 3, you're going to be laughing. You get a 2/2 Knight token, you get another 2/2 Knight token, and then you get a pump effect at the end. And the kind of benefit of this is that they do stack as well. So if you get these kind of rolling off and you've already got a couple of Knights down, the damage you're going to get through is so exponential, sometimes the opponent can't even respond to it. So you're probably thinking, well, Tom, what about Banalish Marshal? I mean, this card's in white weenie, it does a ton of work, it's, you know, just as good as History Benalia sometimes, but the mana base is just a little bit too restricted for those kind of things. But the benefits that we get from playing those Knights also check a lot of the creatures in white weenie as well, so we should be able to have a wider board that is a little bit more uncontested and a bit taller, so we should be able to deal with white weenies all the time as well. So that was a quick rundown of the deck. Let's chuck it into a couple of games, see how it goes, go over a couple of the tips and tricks, and yeah, hopefully get a couple of wins. So generally with this deck, you'd want to be on the play first. It's really handy if you get a good opening hand, you can kind of kick off that pretty well. We do have all our colors here, so I'm reluctant to chuck this back in, but it is a 5-lander, so we're going to give it a go. And yeah, just hope for the best, I guess. So we'll start off with Shock. Get down an early night and just hope we don't draw any more lands. So opponent thinking it over, going, why on earth is he playing Knights? Is this some sort of black-white aggro deck? So we'll see what they play. So they're playing a Plains. Ooh, and a life gain card as well. So presumably there's going to be a Janny's Pridemains coming out, which is a bit worrying. But hopefully we can get off the gates and start threatening them a little bit quicker. So we'll get in here for 2. Normally against white weenies, we have a pretty good matchup against the kind of meta deck at the moment. Knight of Grace is really good for checking against these kind of creatures, but... ooh, interesting. Yeah, if we kind of get Cleansing Nova'd at some point during this, then we'll know they're playing a sort of prison deck instead. So we're just going to keep playing Knights. Force them to have an answer. I mean, Cleansing Nova is until 5, so we've got a bit of time here. Hopefully they're going to start putting something down. If a Pridemaid comes down, we should be able to get past it. Hopefully we get a black creature here as well, so we can start buffing up these Knights of Grace and doing a little bit more damage. Ideally, History Benalia would be a fantastic card to draw now. But yep, we can deal with this as well, that's fine. Opponent's going to gain a little bit of life, draw a card. Has a nice little engine going. So yeah, obviously we've got Knight of Autumn as well on the board, so that'll be able to take care of these pretty easily. But we'll see if they draw off this. Dawn of Hope being a fantastic card as well if you're playing longer games. So hopefully we can out aggro our opponent, get our creatures down. I'm not convinced they're going to be playing Cleansing Nova, so I will kind of play into it if they do. We might have to be careful if we settle the Wreckage though. I mean, that could be something that could be coming up. But this will deal with that, which is perfect. So we're just going to get in with everything. If they want to trade with Dauntless, we're fine with that. It's a pretty good trade. So yep, down to 9. That's perfect. So opponent doesn't have 3 or more creatures, so they can't turn on Leonins yet. They might play another Leonins, so they might actually get one. Just have to hope they don't have the other cat. I think it's the Vanguard. Not the Vanguard, even the Leonin War Leader is the one that we do have to be slightly worried about. Oh, and there's a Resplendent Angel. So yep, we probably have to get rid of that pretty quickly, or they'll start making a ton of tokens. So I'm kind of guessing opponent's playing some sort of mono-white Divine Visitation deck at this point. Again, it might be slightly too slow, so we'll see what happens, but they have gained a lot of life. But not quite enough for the Angel. So we're okay with that, that's fine. Yep, so Knight of Autumn here, perfect. We're just going to pop this down. We're probably going to blow up this. It's a little bit dangerous. and just get in with everything as well. So they might want to take out one of our knights, but we can at least get Shalai through. They don't have enough to start pumping Resplendent Angel yet, so that's fine. But again, can be a very scary card if they're making tokens and then making other tokens with the angels. Divine Visitation is a very, very fun card. I'm hopefully going to be able to build around it with maybe some sort of Tisa Karloff deck, but we'll see what happens. So yep, going for the trade here. It's fine, letting through a lot of damage though. So opponent's down to 6. We're going to play another land. Start playing towards using our Shalai activation as well. So if we draw another land next turn, we don't have to pop down the Knight of Grace. We can just activate Shalai and start trying to go over the top of them. So we'll see what our opponent does here. They're going to gain a bit of life, but thankfully Johnny's Welcome's in the bin, so they might not be able to gain 5. Oh, going for the Conclave. Probably going to take Shalai here. Yep. So again, if we draw a black source here, we'll be in a very, very good position. Should be able to push through. Oh, and there's Pride Maid. So the Pride Maid's going to get pretty big. Yep, gain some life. So yep, not going to get in. That's fine. So we're going to play our Knight. And we're just going to play our other Knight as well. So we're not going to swing in just yet. Hopefully we draw another Knight of Autumn, can blow up this and then swing with Shalai, but we do have a lot of hexproof stuff at the moment, even though only one of them is a kind of useful against our opponent's deck. But yeah, I guess we got to see what our opponent does next. Pride Maid's going to get pretty big. Second Dawn of Hope, not too worried about that. Can start drawing a lot of cards now, but so the idea now is that we want to kind of go around our opponent, but this Pride Maid could be an issue. But we might draw something like Conclave Tribunal, take care of it, and yeah, again they can't start activating Resplendent Angel yet. Oh, they plan to get in. It's pretty dangerous. Okay, sweet. So as predicted, Conclave comes off the top. Exactly the card that we need right now. We'll just get rid of that. A little bit too much damage, and we'll swing it with everything. So, offering up some trades for our opponent, but we're still going to likely get through, looks like 9 damage, so. Yep, first strike creatures. So opponent goes down to 2. We keep our wide board, which is perfect. So we'll see what they do next. They might slam Divine Visitation. No, Bugler's fine. Yep, Healer Hawk. Gonna play that. Probably just start chumping. Another Pride Maid as well. Thankfully they're not gonna get any activations. And opponent scoops up. So sideboard wise, against these kind of life gain decks, we're gonna bring in Bindings. Take care of those Pride Maids. Vraska's just some extra removal. We're going to use this against tokens because presumably they're going to start trying to generate tokens. And as well, this should hopefully get rid of a lot of things. Midnight Reaper, we're going to go down to 2. Valiant Knight's going to be semi-useless in this one. We're going to keep our Angels in because we want to try and go in over the top. And yes, I think we will bring in some Invoke the Divines as well. So we're going to go down to these. We're going to go down 1 Conclave, 1 Tristani, and I think we're just going to take the 1 Ethereal Absolution now. So opponent's likely going to be on the play here. They're going to want to get their Pride Maids and their Vanguards and their War Leaders out, and maybe even some of the early stuff as well. This would have been a fantastic hand, but unfortunately only 1 land. Don't want to get too punished, and this is a lot better, so that's fine. So we're going to keep Midnight Reaper on top here. We can curve into it, and as well if our opponent starts trading, we'll get more value out of that. So early Healer's Hawk, that's fine. We'll just play Shrine tapped and pass turn. So yeah, I kind of like all these variations on the mono white decks. Ooh. Opponent seems to have kept a one lander though, but they are starting to gain a lot of life, so do have to be a little bit careful. So we're going to play our Knight of Grace here. Next turn we'll be able to get the Knight of Malice or the Midnight Reaper out as well. I'll kind of see what our opponent plays next. Again, stuck on one land. Unless they're deciding to play that second main. Oh, fair enough. Gaining a lot of life, that's fine. Cool, so we're going to shock ourselves here. Get the Midnight Reaper down. Not too afraid of the Healer Hawks at the moment. We do have the Seraph, and if he does manage to kill that, although the Pride Mate is going to get huge, could be slightly worrying. So yep, just going to play History of Benalia here, generate some blockers, and not swinging yet. So yeah, the Pride Mate obviously in double Healer Hawk, it's going to be getting massive. Oh, handed a Janny's Welcome. So we'll have to deal with that. Hopefully they don't have another one drop. Wow. So yep, going to trade for the Pride Mate here. So again, we're not too worried about losing tokens. We can at least get a little bit of value with Midnight Reaper. And hopefully draw into Lyra or something. So opponent's sitting on 32, which is obviously pretty good. But now we can start blocking tokens. That's fine. Grand, so we're just going to pop down Seraph here. And get in for our own little bit of damage. So this might be a little bit of a longer game. I feel we've got the advantage here, hopefully, if we can curve out into our mid-range stuff. We can always start using Seraph as well with Vigilance to get in for 4. They've only got 2 on the board. Nope. Yep, that's fine. So again, opponent taking the turn off here. That's fine, we'll get in for a big chunk of damage. And we're just going to invoke the Divine, their Tribunal as well. So we'll get back ours. Get in. So yep, get our Knights in for a huge chunk of damage here. And opponent's back to 20. Fantastic. So we've got this next History of Benalia as well, which is great. If we draw another land, we can play that with Knight of Malice. Generate a bigger board state again. Opponent's still stuck on 2 lands, so that's okay. And yep, another Janny's Welcome. That's fine. Gonna be getting 2 life every time they play a creature, but again, they're not looking to send their Healer Hawks in, which is great. If we don't draw another land, we can always just use our Vigilance with this, send it in. And we do though. Fair enough. So we're just going to play another History of Benalia. Again, just try and get that big, like wide board state. So yep, just going to play Knight of Malice here. So we're just going to send in our tokens. We do want to kind of keep this back as a blocker and threaten to take out one of their threats. But now we're threatening this massive wide board. Opponent's nowhere near Settle the Wreckage or anything, so fingers crossed. Yep, and that's fine again. We're okay with this. We do have a binding here, so I think we're just going to binding that. Again, we just want to keep pushing the board state. And opponent scoops it up, so fantastic win there. Got a little bit worried towards the end with the Healer Hawk taking us down to 10, but yeah, thankfully we went the distance. So we'll hop over to our next game just now, and best of luck to our opponent. So opponent's going to be on the play here, most likely, because there's very few circumstances that you don't want to take it. And yeah, we'll be on the draw, which is a bit unfortunate, but at least we get a bit of card advantage, which is pretty handy when we have to mulligan to 6. So unfortunately, this would be a fantastic little hand if we had any lands, but we'll chuck it back in. And yeah, we've got all our mana, so that's perfect. And we will keep that on top as well, just so we've got some early stuff to play out. Ooh. So opponent on black-red, presumably going to be either some sort of Rakdos aggro, or maybe, is it Drakes? Splashing the black for dispersal. Ooh, Grixis. Ooh, Grixis control maybe. Or maybe just Grixis, good stuff. Thought Erasure, a fantastic card. Oh, takes Tribunal. So presumably they're going to be wanting to play a Thief of Sanity at some point, which we have very little ways to interact with. So slightly worrying. So they get a little surveil off this, get to start sculpting their hand. So we're just going to play our Knight of Grace. So next turn we'll be able to play Knight of Grace and a Dauntless Bodyguard. Thankfully these have Hexproof and Black as well, which is very handy in these kind of matchups. So no cast downs, they'll need to sweep the board for it. And if they do want to sweep the board as well, we can... We can always sacrifice a Dauntless Bodyguard as well. So I think in this matchup the best thing to do is just play the stuff out as it comes thickened through. So we will Hexproof the one that can attack. Indestructible even. And we'll just try and get in here. Hopefully our opponent blocks. I highly doubt they will. But at least if they sweep the board now, they're going to take out their own Thief. And yeah, it's a bit unfortunate they're going to start getting our stuff, but hopefully we'll be able to pull a Shalai off the top or something. So opponent's got enough for counter magic and everything else on top, so they're going to just start taking our stuff and trying to play with our deck, which is a bit unfortunate. I think, who was it? There was a list going about, I think maybe yesterday or the day before, which would be kind of mid-March time, I guess, now. That was a kind of Grixis mid-range deck that seemed to be pretty powerful, so presumably our opponent's on this, but at least they can have the same kind of problems as we do with the 3-color mana base. They're playing a lot more kind of basics than we would, so that's fine. So not wanting to give us Valiant Knight, obviously, even though it's a good blocker for them, so they must have pulled something pretty good off. I wonder what it could be. They're not playing it straight away, so it can't be anything too good. Maybe History of Benalia is a card they would take. Wow, that's a... Yep, this is definitely this Grixis mid-range list. So Carnage, very powerful card. Lightning hate, essentially. So they're tapped out, so we'll just continue playing out our board. We can get in here with everything. Still a hefty chunk of damage, putting them down to 9, so they're going to have to sweep the board or be in absolute peril next turn. So presumably they're going to want to play something like Rekindling Phoenix as a consistent blocker. Luckily our Knight's able to check that as well. Yep, Hostage Taker. So yeah, this is probably just Grixis good stuff at the moment. They will only be able to take the Malice, but they can play it straight away, which is a bit unfortunate. But again, we do offer a pretty favourable trade into it, so they can't just play it out straight away, which is nice unless they play a land. And yeah, we still have 8 on the board, which is pretty handy, so we'll get them down to 1 at this point. So we're going to continue taking our stuff, but they're struggling to find an answer now, which is pretty handy. So luckily Grixis midrange is kind of subject to the same problems as other midrange decks, that aggro plays quite well into it. So they pinned the Lyra, wow. They must have got something pretty good off that then. So yep, unfortunately just a land for us, so we're just going to get in with everything here. Presumably going to block the Dauntless, but that's a fair trade. We can still get 6 through, so that's pretty handy. So maybe we should sacrifice this. Oh, no blocks even. Yep, we're just going to sack it. And yeah, it just stops our opponent using any sort of spells on us, so looking to get down some blockers now to stop this 3 damage coming through, but at least the first strike from the Knight of Graces are going to be pretty handy. So ideally off the top we want Valiant Knight, or we want any kind of pump effect, which would be pretty handy. Oh, so opponent playing Kaya is going to start gaining a bit of life as well, which is a bit annoying. And their Knight of Malice will be able to check a few of our... Ah, that's what they've taken off us. Kaya. That makes sense. So yep, Kaya, pretty good card here as we know. Ooh. Can start gaining that life pretty handily. So presumably they're going to get in with Thief. And maybe Hostage Taker as well if they're feeling lucky. Nope, they're going to keep that back. Great. So the question is whether or not we just attack Kaya or not. I think we're just going to go for it. So we can play this cleanly. Again, we just need to start continually getting in. We're just going to go for our opponent. Kaya's going to gain them another 2 life. So they're going to go back up to 4. So again, we just have to wait for the history to trigger. If we can get there, our opponent's still got 2 of our own cards, so slightly worrying, but we'll just hold this card back. Pretend we have something useful. So let's see what our opponent does. Things they would have taken from us. Blockers, always pretty handy. Maybe a Conclave. Considering they binned Lyra though, that was probably for Kaya. Thinking they would get more value off that, but we will see. So opponent's thinking it over here. Yep, there's a Phoenix as predicted. And a Knight of Grace as well, very nice. So opponent tapped out, get him with his thief again. Put us down to 9. It's gonna be close. So unfortunately, if we attack, we leave ourselves open pretty wide here. So we can attack with 2. They block the token with Rekindling Phoenix. It does nothing. They trade Knight of Grace for Knight of Grace. So it's not very favorable at all. Opponents hovering over their cards, which suggests they maybe have something. So just play a land out. No attacks. Hope for the best. We can always trade our own creatures off here if need be. So unfortunately we do have to trade a Knight of Grace, but we'll see what happens. Holster's Taker being a very powerful card in this matchup at the moment. We really swung the board, and of course Thief, so we'll need a way to deal with that consistently. Hopefully we've got something we can bring in. I can't remember entirely if we've got Crushing Canopies on the sideboard, but that would maybe be a card we'd have to consider if this deck becomes more popular. Yeah, I mean, especially against Rekindling Phoenixes as well. At least it would take the token down. Yeah, oh, so the opponent just goes straight for the exile and it has us on the ropes. I didn't even see that there, but yep, we are dead. So that's fine, we'll move to sideboarding, see what we can do to kind of fix up this deck a little bit, and yeah, now we know what our opponent's playing, we'll be in good shape. So these are coming in because they are fantastic. We will switch to this mode a little bit so it's easier. What else do we take? We're not playing enchantments, that's kind of useless. We'll take the Duresses so we can kind of fight our opponent's hand. And we will... Yep, another Lyra, I guess. Maybe. It's very, very likely it'll die to spot removal, but if we can get a Shalai out, then I guess that's fine. So we'll go down a couple of Valiant Knights. Again, unfortunately, we have to keep siding these out, but they are just in really for flavor, to be honest, but that's okay. We will get rid of our Dauntlesses because they're not too useful in this matchup. We will keep our Midnight Reaper for card advantage. We will... I'm tempted to put in a Janny here because if it's a turn 4 play, it would just be fantastic. So we'll go down a Conclave, pop in a Janny because we've got the 2 Excellence Bindings to deal with Thief. And the temptation to bring in Verasquez is strong. Yeah, we're going to bring these in for 1 Seraph and 1 Midnight Reaper. Gives us a little bit of variety. Verasquez Contempt, essential against Rekindling Phoenixes, just deals with it cleanly for a 1-for-1. So let's run it like this, we'll see what we get. So we're going to go in the play. Again, want to just keep that aggro going. Unless we have to ship a hand though. So we're down to 6. Ooh, if we draw a land, this could be very powerful. So we will keep this. Especially they've kind of boarded in more sweepers, but I haven't really seen the ins and outs of that deck yet. I remember watching a video on it earlier in the week, but there was nothing that looked too punishing in it, to be honest, so we'll see what happens. Opponent playing some tap lands. Presumably going to Thought Erasure us next turn, but at least we have the 2. So Thought Erasure is okay here, because we can create a kind of wide board state. If they have boarded in sweepers, we're in trouble. But I think because the deck is so reliant on creatures and Dim Mizzet that... Oh, big mistake by our opponent there. Let's just go straight off the mark. So yeah, I think because the deck is so creature heavy, I guess it can kind of move into it. Yeah, I have a feeling that because of all the Grixis cards in there, so a lot of the black cards are kind of used as either removal or potentially just sweepers as well. They can sideboard in to deal with aggro decks. Yep, so there's a Thought Rager, gonna take our second History of Benalia, but that's okay. We've already got one going. And Bin's a land as well, interesting. And there's the Kaya, so... We're gonna get more value from that, or from that. I think we're gonna play Midnight Reaper here. Kaya would be great, but at least Midnight Reaper offers a little bit of value trade-wise, so that's fine. Suggesting your opponent has a cast down or something here. Or an opt even, only an opt. Of course. Floating 1 mana. Unless they've somehow moved Spell Pierce into this deck, but I don't think Grixis would. So 4 mana, Phoenix. Again, we can deal with that. Oh. Yep, so we're just getting the God draws at the moment. That's absolutely perfect. Just get this going again. Send in everything. Presumably they're going to block something, but I'm not entirely sure what you would block. Yep, so at least we'll get a bit of card advantage off this. So yeah, as I said, against mid-range this is perfect. Really heavy aggro strategy. We're just getting everything in, and that's Xaxes. Fantastic. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way the deck was set up there. Even when we mulled to 6, we were in pretty good shape. Yeah, I mean, let's just run it back and see what happens, I guess. So hopefully we draw a pretty good 7 here. Our opponent is probably going to be on the play since we're both playing creature decks. Oh, no. So yep, once again, gonna have to mulligan down to 6. Yeah, that's okay. And that's perfect. So we got all our colors. We might even shock ourselves for the Overgrown Tomb just to get 1 or 2 things out. Again, we're on the draw, so we do have to kind of try and get ahead on creatures at least, and then play Shalai to kind of protect everything. Conclave Tribunal ready to deal with Thief of Sanity if it comes down early. But our opponent did keep their opening hand, so we will see. Thought Erasure. They always have the turn 2 Thought Erasure, so Conclave's probably going by. And the hand disruption from this and Carnage can be really devastating as well. But luckily we can kind of play off the top of our deck as well, which is pretty handy. So it's unfortunate that our opponent now knows our game plan, but... interesting. I would have maybe taken the Shalai, to be honest, but... Again, kind of... gives me the feeling it means they're going to play something like... Thief of Sanity next turn. So if we draw on the land, we can always deal with it with Veraskas, or we can play Shalai, force him to have a removal spell, and then swing back with it. So here comes the Thief. Nope, no Thief. Interesting. So I think we're just going to try and psych our opponent out here. Try and get Knight of Malice down. Potentially going to get countered, but don't want to play cards they don't know about. Nice. So again, Knight of Grace doesn't get hit by this, so this is perfect. Oh, it does get hit by that. Ah, yes. Shivan Fire. So it looks like a really cool deck. I might try and adapt on the list. I don't think Rekindling Phoenix is too good at the moment. At least in my play groups. It kind of dies to a lot of things, basically. So we have a lot of people playing Lava Coils and Veraskas Contempt in Edinburgh. So I think Nikki Bolas would be potentially better in the deck. just due to the fact you get the discard, you're getting more hand hate, and then you're also getting potentially one of the most powerful planeswalkers as well. So I might fiddle around with the list, see if it goes yeah, see how it does, I guess. But we'll just get in here with Knight of Malice. First Blood, pretty handy. Oh, opponent's shocking down. Siege Gang, wow. I'm gonna start chucking goblins at us soon, so we're just gonna play History of Benalia here. Try and get in. Opponent can do some blocking if they want to, but puts our opponent down to 8. So they'd have to sack most of their goblins to deal with the board. Hopefully they don't have a second Siege Gang. Siege Gang. If I can even say it properly, but yep. Avico, that's fine. Leaves them a little bit for goblins. But yeah, we're just kind of racing our opponent at the moment. If we get another mana, that would just be fantastic. It would keep our knights alive for another turn, but I'm not holding out for it at the moment. Yep. That's also fine. So they might decide to double block with a token. Going for the full cleanup. Wow. So yeah, Siege Gang being pretty powerful here. Comes down to 6 though. So we're just gonna pay 2 life, get Schley out. This keeps us protected as well. If they have another lava coil, that's gonna be pretty unfortunate, but we'll see what they play. Or Vraska's Contempt, or any large amount of removal that's probably in this deck. Yep, so there's a lava coil. That's okay. So they're probably going to clean up this token. Yep. It's fine again. So our opponent's running pretty low on cards, and at least we've like held an answer back. So this is perfect. Opponent holding up 2. What would they do with 2 mana? Opt. Shiv and Fire again. Shock maybe. So cool, we can threaten lethal now, which is pretty good, so hopefully they don't rip something amazing off the top. If they have Rekindling Phoenix, we do have an answer for it. They still don't know about this Vraska's Contempt, which is pretty handy. So we'll see what comes down. 2, 3, 1, 2. They do not have Niv Mizzet mana, which is pretty good. So take our History of Benalia, or does this even target History of Benalia? Yep. Is this just spells? Oh nice, it is just instants and sorceries. That's pretty handy. So again though, offering them a pretty good blocker. Hopefully they're gonna just pass. Sweet. So we will just Vraska's that. Gain some life back as well, which is pretty handy. And that stops the first strike blocking us as well. So we have duress for next turn as well, so we can just pick apart the last of our opponent's hand. Find out what they've actually got. Devil, wow. So yeah, I mean this deck does look pretty good against a lot of stuff. Oh no. Spent too soon. So hopefully just rip the other Vraska's Contempt off the top now, but I guess, or a Conclave, or an Ixalan's Binding. History's not too bad, we'll take that. So the race is on. Who will get there first? Who will draw something useful? Let's see. Yep, so we're not going to attack into this. We're going to hold out and see if we can get our knights buffed in time. So I don't think opponent's going to come in with Siege Gang, but they might have something to clean up one of the tokens. Again, they might not even attack with Rekindling Phoenix, they might just hold it back as a blocker for a while, but we shall see. Yep, Dire Fleet, another great blocker. Whoa. And takes our Vraska's as well, so gaining a little bit of life. Ouch. Luckily our Knight of Grace can stay alive though. So yep, gonna start coming in. So hopefully we can draw an answer for this Rekindling Phoenix. Ooh, nothing as of yet. So we probably want to hold back for another turn just in case. Hopefully opponent just draws a land here. We will see though. Knowing my luck though, probably be Niv Mizzet coming down just now. Oh, Lava Coil. Fair enough. That's fine again. So we're still alive here. Opponent's probably gonna sack Siege Gang, deal 2. Yep. So we need to block. Oh, we're just dead anyway, but... So we block here, sacks it, deals 2 to us. 2 comes through. Yep. 6. Or is that a tap ability? No, don't think it is. So sack Siege Gang. Gets the kill. Yep. And that's game. So unfortunately there, it was pretty close, but yeah, it's a really cool deck. I'm really excited to try it out when I get a chance as well. So we'll just go nip over to the post-game review now. Have a wee look at how the games went and how they went on paper, and I will speak to you over there. Cheers. So the deck went overall 1-1, which is pretty good. Notable changes that I'd like to make. I would think about adding something like Unclaimed Territory if we could kind of justify it by adding more knights in, but the kind of top end knights, which are Valiant and Josu Vest, you'd have to trade for Tristani and Lyra, and I still think they're kind of bare top ends overall. On paper, I was playing this in Guilds of Ravnica, so I didn't really have the full mana base sorted. It wasn't very consistent. But yeah, Unclaimed Territory might fix that, but again, you'd have to kind of add flavor to give up power, which is a little bit questionable. Favorable matchups at the moment, I would say, are mono blue, mono red, mono white. And yeah, we can struggle against mono green sometimes if we don't have removal for Steel Leaf, so I would consider bringing in something like Cast Down maybe in the main board, or even just in the sideboard to kind of make sure we're hitting things like Thief of Sanity and Steel Leaf Champion, which can be really bothersome for us as well. Against kind of the bigger red decks, a little bit of a struggle. So I mean, is it Drakes, you can kind of get ahead of them and maybe hit them with Binding or a Conclave on their Drakes and then kind of get through, or if they've got consistent removal like Shivan Fire, Shock, Lava Coil, then you're in a little bit of trouble, as we saw against the Grixis midrange deck just there as well, which was a bit unfortunate. So yeah, other kind of changes I would make, I'm pretty happy with having Kaya in. I think it's a great card. I'm going to stand by this and kind of make this my start of the season kind of review, that Kaya will become super popular, and Ethereal Absolution could potentially be one of the things you want to cut for something like maybe even just more hand tate, or yeah, maybe even just going up another Lyra just to make sure you're good against other aggro decks essentially. So yeah, I mean the removal package is pretty much just the only thing I would maybe think about changing, but overall I'm very happy with this deck. It's one that I'm gonna continue playing, and I really do enjoy the knights in this game. I think they just look absolutely gorgeous. So if there is any changes that you guys saw that you'd like to make to the deck, just drop me a comment down below or hit me up on social media. I'll be able to get back to you. We can take a look at the deck together and run through a couple of different ways that we can maybe play it. I really want this to be a community channel, so if there is any big changes that you'd like to make, just let me know as well in the comments down below. So I will speak to you guys again soon. So thank you so much for watching, guys. If you like what you saw, please do the usual YouTube stuff, like, subscribe. We've also got our page over on Patreon as well if you want to support the channel further. There's going to be some sweet perks up on there. And if you do want to see how the paper games went as well, please check out the full article over on our website, tamiyosjournal.com. So Tamiyo's Journal is also part of the Creators Quarter community. This is basically a group of us that have been working together to generate some great Magic content, and you'll be able to find all their stuff in the playlist in the top right, just over here. And if you're looking for more standard content, why not check out the rest of our playlist over here as well. So thank you so much again for watching, and I will see you again soon. Cheers.